Hi, in this session we're going to focus on cargo dispatching using helicopters for the support of a Frontline. So I'm going to walk you through a mission where I am building up a complete scenario where helicopters will pick up infantry from a pickup zone and will transport those infantry towards the Frontline where they will be deployed and where they can help with some air-to-air defenses. Okay, so let's start. Let me first walk you through the script that I've already created in advance. And this is going to be a demonstration of AID CGO 250 helicopter Frontline enforcements. Let's open it up. And here you can see what we already learned. That is, we are setting up a set cargo infantry and now a set of helicopters instead of a set of APC. So the set group object will look in the mission for any group that has the name helicopter and will include it within the set. And these will be stored in set helicopter variable. Now, another thing that we are doing different than the previous time is we also now setting up a pickup zone. So a set of pickup zones has to be created, and I'm going to look for any zone that has the name pickup. And of course a set of deploy zones, again where I'm looking now for defense instead of deploy. Defense is the keyword here. And here I'm setting up my AI cargo dispatcher helicopter object. Same thing as with APCs, but now I'm having a set helicopter, set cargo infantry, and a set of pickup zones, and a set of deploy zones. Another thing that I'm doing differently here is I am setting a home zone. And the home zone is the zone where helicopters will fly back to when all the infantry has been transported. So in the mission, these are the helicopters. And as you can see, the name starts with helicopter, the group name, yeah, to be clear. Another thing now is I'm using a pickup zone. And a pickup zone can be any type. As you saw in the APC demonstration in section 5, we use trigger zones. And here I'm using a polygon zone, which is a type of zone that can easily be created within the Moose framework. It would search for the name pickup, so the name of the zone will be pickup location, and I am drawing the zone with the parameters of the path of this dummy helicopter that I have set late activated. Now within the code later on we will show you how this polygon zone is created. The infantry is another difference from the previous example, will be spawned dynamically within this pickup zone. So there is no infantry created in advance in the mission really. They're all spawned dynamically. So I am having just one group defined called infantry with late activation set, and I also will demonstrate how we spawn infantry in the mission. Let's talk about the deploy zones then. So pickup zone is here. Helicopters will fly to the pickup zone, pick up the infantry, and will fly to the deploy zones. And the deploy zones, again, they're not trigger zones. What I'm using here, I'm using very simple armed personnel carriers here, a jeep, yeah, where I want the helicopters to land near. And in this case, I'm setting up a zone group object with a certain radius that is virtually defined within the mission. So the helicopters will fly to one of these four jeeps and will land near to them, deploying the infantry. So why would this be a Frontline? Well, I've created in the mission virtually these helicopters here, armed with some not too heavy arms. They will fly towards the village here, and of course they will pose a threat, yeah, to the area. So we want to ensure that the helicopters will pick up the cargo or the infantry in advance and will fly over to the deploy zone, so the defense will deploy them. And those infantry, let's look carefully to them. What I've done here for fun is I've created a template where I am having Stinger manpads added. So once the infantry is being deployed, the manpads will activate and will start with some air defenses in the vicinity. So this is a very useful trick to, assist your front lines with any anti-air activity. And the last thing that needs to be explained is the home zone, remember? So this is just a very simple zone where the helicopters will land once all the infantry have been transported. Now let's get back to the script, and I'm going to show you some more details about this mission. So the next parts of the script would be around spawning and setting up a zone polygon and establishing a cargo group for those cargo that have been spawned. So this little code here does really a lot more than you think. Let's explain. So we all know the spawn object, and if you don't, you have to first learn what spawning is. I'm not going to go into details in this session. So we're spawning using the template infantry as explained within the mission. We're using an init limit. We have 40 unit max, 60 units, 60 groups in the resources. We're randomizing now the spawned groups within a zone polygon here, and we're using the method new from group name, where I'm searching for the group with the name pickup location, and I'm using that group name to create the zone polygon. And let me explain back what I mean. It's this, remember, pickup location, so this will become the zone polygon. Okay, now here's something special. We're using the on-spawn group because the spawning is scheduled, right? So when this thing kicks off, infantry will be spawned every 60 seconds minus or plus 50% time, so it could be between 30 and 90 seconds. And every time when a group has been spawned, this function will be called spawn group. And in the function, what we want to do is we want to ensure that the group that has been spawned is now declared also as a cargo object, so that the cargo dispatcher will understand it, that it will understand it needs to be picking up that infantry. And we do this using the cargo group class, new method, which takes a couple of parameters. A cargo group object, right, which is a group object, a type, which is a string with a type, a name of the object, and a load radius, reporting radius. So what we do here is we use the spawn object that was passed. We name the type of the cargo infantry, and as a result of doing this, the set cargo object, set cargo infantry, will automatically add this cargo group object to its set, because we have used filter start. So each time I am creating a cargo group new, the cargo group will be automatically added here when these types are the same. And I'm naming it the name of the group that has been spawned with using getName, and I'm using a reporting radius of 150 meters, which is when the helicopter is landing within the range of 150 meters, then this cargo group will be spawned and the soldiers will run towards the helicopter. Let's talk also a bit about the defense zones. So we said we have got these, these 4 jeeps here in the front line, right? And they have the name defense. So we want to ensure that we declare those as zones, and we do this using the zone group class, new. We name the zone here defense 1, and we're using then the group, find by name the group object. We search for the group defense 001 that's within the mission, and we give it a range of 1,500 meters. So as a result, around this vehicle here, there will be a zone created of 1,500 meter radius around it, which is quite extensive. Yeah, and the helicopters will land towards those zones. Now, when the zone group object is being created, then the zone will automatically be added to this set deploy zones set, because the filtering is happening on the filter prefix, the name. So it finds defense here, and it will, excuse me, no, the name is here. So defense is the name, and it will match with that one, and as such the zone group will be added to the set deploy zones. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna tailor the logic with some events handling and some options. But I think for the moment, let me kick off the mission for a minute, and then you'll see what's happening, and then you'll see some messages appear, and I will explain you how those messages were created and what is happening there. So now we're in the mission, and there is some infantry spawned here. So let's land the helo. And you can see that the soldiers are all boarding very nicely, one by one. By the way, the stuttering that you see is my hard drive, because my video is recording while I am speaking and running this mission. Just yeah, you won't have this in the game, yeah. So, and you can see that it is spawning multiple cargo, because, well, 150 meters is quite an extensive range. So now all the cargo has been spawned, picked up, and this one is now taking off, while another one is already landing there within the pickup zone. And as you can see, multiple infantry are spawning in dynamically. Later on I will explain you how to make this also a bit more realistic, and with the upcoming warehouse class that Funky Frankie has been making, this is going to be all really exciting. Okay, let me get you to the mission now a bit. All kinds of helicopters are landing and are starting up, and we are going to look now at the deploy zone. Maybe one more thing that you notice are these messages here. So there are different events within the cargo dispatcher, and you can tailor the events and send the messages or do other actions based on the moment these events happen. So for example, he's loading a cargo, he has loaded all the cargo, this helicopter is starting deployment, this helicopter is now loading the cargo, and as you would go and see, then this is also really happening, yeah? Probably it's gonna be helicopter 5, yeah, exactly. So that one is now loading cargo, and so on and so on. And there's quite some cargo that these guys can load. Also note that the weight of the amount of infantry that can be loaded is calculated based on real values that are stored within the DCS simulator. And yeah, I think honestly the mechanism is working quite well and realistic also. So let us get back to this helicopter here that is moving towards the deploy zone, and I can show you then some nice landing here at the deploy zone. Also, you can see that the routes that the helicopters are following has been randomized. So some fly here, some fly there. The speed of the helicopters is also being randomized, and you can influence this as well, the altitude, and yeah, So these two parameters can be influenced when configuring the dispatcher. So this one is flying 220. This flying is 250 at an altitude of 91. And the altitude is not so, well, is really important because you want to ensure that you're not flying too fast with your helicopters or too high. You want to ensure that they are in a, you know, in a good position, flying across the battlefield, not being detected by radar or any other detection facilities easily. And then next, here we are landing the helo. Yeah. Also notice that the helicopter is landing near the near that vehicle there. Yeah. So and you can also influence this, the location where the helicopter is landing, the distance from the vehicle is easily, you know, parameterizable, which I will explain you in a minute. And here's the second helicopter that is arriving. Excellent. And once the helicopter lands, it will start unloading the cargo infantry. Also notice the cargo infantry is being unloaded realistically, so not popping up, you know, all at the same time, but rather in a dynamic fashion, one by one. And the cargo infantry will then disperse around the helicopter, taking position for defenses. And this will be done in parallel with all the other helicopters that are flying in parallel, deploying their cargo near their zone. And as such, this is going to be, you know, a real nice class to support the front lines using infantry cargo transportation. Also note that here further cargo has been spawned here, right, dynamically, while these cargoes here have been deployed. And I'm going to speed up now a bit and let me show you then the defenses with some fireworks. But before I do that, let me explain you how these messages were created. So as I said, the dispatchers have an event handler for each type of event, and there's an event called pickup. And pickup is an event that is being used when a helicopter is being instructed to fly towards a certain coordinate with a certain speed and height at a certain pickup zone, optionally, to pick up cargo that he finds in the vicinity. The Moose framework is using intelligence of the Eclipse environment, and these kind of parameter declarations are created to help you to understand what type or object speed was and height. So for example, here when I'm using the coordinate, I can even do control space here, and I do double point, for example set, then I would get here the list of, you know, methods that are being supported by the coordinate class. or parent classes. I can do get, yeah, and you get all of the methods that are developed within coordinate to, you know, inquire what the coordinate properties are. For example, get a two-dimensional distance from a target coordinate from the current coordinate, and so on and so on. So you can use this object to really develop a lot of stuff. And right now I'm doing some very basic thing here. I'm just sending a message using the message new type method, which takes a string, right, and then says a message type. I'm sending here information, so the message will not be displayed too long on the screen. Then I'm sending it to all people, all participants in the mission, and I'm doing this for all the other events here. So when you would go to the Moose Developers Guide, you know, first this is the home page. So Moose Docs developed for the moment in beta, but when it is released you'll find it in Moose Docs only. Yeah, go there and then click on the Developers Guide, go down, click on the Moose classes. There's a bit of explanation here, and here you find the main classes, where there is a AI Cargo Dispatcher class being defined, and this is the home page of the AI Cargo Dispatcher, alright, which you can find here. And in this class is explained what an AI Cargo Dispatcher is. It is a base class for AI Cargo Dispatcher APC, helicopter and airplane. In other words, this base class is actually taking care of all of the logic that is required to have a good dispatching logic created. And you don't use really this AI Cargo Dispatcher class, you use those, but I want you to know that this base class, this parent class here, is taking care of most of the dispatching logic for you. And the AI Cargo Dispatcher, there's a specific set of documentation you need to know about, is here. So here are all the events that have been developed within the class and within the child classes for APCs, helicopters and airplanes, with an explanation what they do and an explanation how you can use, you know, those events to tailor those events using your own logic. And for each type I've listed a template that you can just cut and paste into your script, right? So just cut and paste this and then rename the class ID here to the object that you have within your script. So that would be the object, the AI dispatcher object that you have created, and then you're fine. Then you get all of these variables here, they are typed correctly, and you can start writing your own code here. So just get a bit used to this process of cut and pasting this here into your mission script. Okay, the parameters will stay fixed, they won't change anymore. This has been thoroughly tested already. And you do this for, you know, just pick the event that you want to tailor, and you'll see that different events have different parameters. And that's of course logically because the events have a different scope or a different meaning or a different purpose. For example, a deploy event has a deploy zone object, right? An unload event has a deploy zone object but doesn't have a speed, height or coordinate. Makes sense because it's unloading, you know, it's unloading, yeah, soldiers. So each of these events have specificities, yeah. So just read the explanation here, what is meant with each variable, and it all points itself out. So what I've done in the test mission, I have implemented for each event, or most of them, I've implemented an example within this mission how this is working. And I think this is a very nice example of how to tailor the events. And I really encourage you to have a look at mission AID CGO 250. Now let's have a look at the mission again where we are. Helicopters are approaching and there is more cargo being deployed near the zones. Now let me speed up a bit. those helicopters because it's getting really very slow. It's going to be better. Because there's another explanation that I need to do within the script. So let me get back to the script, because on the bottom here you'll find some more stuff. Look at those: pickup radius, deploy radius, pickup speed, deploy speed, pickup height, deploy height. So here you can use the AI dispatcher helicopter object to actually specify, what would be the radius for pickup, meaning the maximum radius and the minimum radius, where the cargo object would be in the center. So that would mean that the helicopter will land between 30 and 10 meters around the cargo, somewhere at a spot. Same for deploy. It will land between 200 and 100 meters around the jeep. The pickup speed, when the helicopter is flying for pickup, I wanted the speed to limit between 300 and 200 kilometers per hour. Same for deploy. And I want the height to vary between 130 meters above the ground. And this is another way how you can start the dispatcher. Yeah, there is also another way I think that you can do this is using the deferred start command, where I'm saying start within 10 seconds. All of these are valid statements, or you can just start immediately. But the reason why I am starting delayed here is because I want to spawn in first a couple of infantry within the pickup zone, so that when the AI cargo dispatcher helicopter starts, it will find an infantry to be picked up and the logic will work correctly. Right, so the cargo helicopters are picking up cargo, yeah, and have already done some loading again. They're flying again to the to the deploy zones, and the red helicopters are approaching slowly. The advantage of a zone group is that you can move it. So you can move the vehicle around, instruct those vehicles to take on other positions, and as a result the cargo will just move and will be deployed there. Yeah. Now note that this will only happen when the helicopter is leaving. So it will take the position of where the group is of the zone group object, and it will fly towards that location. And there you see fire breaking loose. Okay, thanks for watching and bye bye.